Oh, I am a Liverpudlian, and I come from the Spion Cup. I love to sing, I love to shout, I get thrown out quite a lot. We support the team that's dressed in red. It's a team that you all know. It's a team that we call Liverpool, and to glory we will go. We've won the
Hello, one and all, and welcome to the very late Plastic Scousers podcast. My name is Matt Simpson, and this is my co-host, a man who lost the British Tour Car Championship in the final race when he suddenly realised he couldn't drive anymore. It's Owen Collins.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, I'd done quite well in the previous rounds, and there's a lot of races in the British Tour Car Championship, but I think I must have just, I don't know whether it was through sort of bluster or bluff, or perhaps the sheer force of my own ambition, but I'm not really sure how I made it to the final, but something kept me going. My hands were on the wheel, my feet were on what I presumed were the pedals. Maybe they were someone else's pedals. Maybe they weren't pedals at all. Maybe it wasn't even a steering wheel my hands were on. We can't rule out that they weren't even my hands. But basically, I was there in the final. I was being overtaken all the time, and my co-pilot said, "Why don't you just drive?" I said, "I don't know how to drive. I mean, I can do a 3-point turn and a hill start, but the problem with the Tour Car Championship is that there's not many hills, and there's certainly no 3-point turns. So hill start, can only get you so far. I could start the car, but I couldn't ultimately drive the car. So I'm now waiting for the British Tour Start Championship, where I will just turn the engine on and, go about 6 foot up a steep incline. And that, I think, Matt, is when my chips are going to come in. But anyway, as for season hurdles towards its critical mass, we here at the Plastic Scousers are here to give you all the games, goals and talking points from the merry month of March. There'll be the usual insight and irreverence as we discuss the 5 fixtures in the Premier League and Champions League as the season begins to hot up, unlike the British spring weather.
A joke that was written so long ago that you can now tell how relevant it is. As well as that, Owen faces a twist on a classic British TV game show. But first, we're going to do something a bit different this month and start with the football. And it's a big one.
It is. It's arguably the biggest one. Certainly locally. It is, of course, the Merseyside derby.
Indeed. It's one of those, I think it goes under the category of the first ones you check out on the fixture list.
Absolutely.
You look for Everton and United, the rest of the top 6, and then the run-in, I think.
I would add the promoted teams.
Oh, I guess depending on what you've already found, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because for me, I genuinely think the run-in is maybe the most important part. Because you know that if it's like, if it's a tight season, having a good run-in might benefit you,
But also, and I don't know if it's just me, but it feels furthest away. Do you know what I mean? You look at the run-in, and obviously the fixtures come out in June, and the run-in is 11 months from you, and it just seems like another world. Do you know what I mean? It's like looking at the kind of dates for your graduation when you just started uni. It kind of doesn't feel relevant to where you are. So for me, it's all about the opening 4 or 5 games. As you say, the derby's the big 6, and especially if it's a little team that's just come up from the Championship, I like to find out when we're playing them. If it's a Huddersfield or a Brighton,
yeah, particularly away from home, it's always interesting to see what we're going to play there.
Yeah, they're nice occasions.
Yeah, so this was one of the big games away in the Merseyside derby. Of course, the return fixture earlier on in December led to one of the most famous Anfield goals of all time, I suspect, with the 96th minute Divock Origi header from a yard out after a thumb. Well, I don't even know what it was from Jordan Pickford, but it led to a moment of euphoria and a big fine for Jurgen Klopp for running onto the pitch. But this game sort of had a bit more relevance and a bit more resonance across the rest of the league because we'd come off the back of a few pretty poor results. I mean, we'd just beaten Watford, but, draws against United, West Ham and Leicester had basically got City back in the race when once we've been 7 clear. So it was starting to feel like we needed to get back on it quickly or things might get difficult.
Yeah, we'd had a terrible February. I think we can, other than other than a sort of win against Bournemouth and Watford, we'd had a really disappointing sort of run up to this point, and you had hopes that 5-0 win over Watford at the end of February would be the sort of catalyst we needed to get our asses back in gear. But it wasn't really to be.
No. It was, on a very drab and frustrating game that, it was, well, let's talk a little bit about it. I don't know how much we're going to actually be able to say, but, look at the lineup. There's only one change from the Watford game, which was Hendo in for Milner, who has not exactly been everyone's favourite player this season, Hendo.
No, I mean, I don't think he's been anyone's favourite player for years now. I feel very sorry for him because I do think he had the impossible job of taking over the captaincy from one of our greatest ever players, not just one of our greatest ever captains. And I think he's not a particularly stylish player like a Salah or a Firmino. It's not particularly, he's English, which doesn't help. Do you know what I mean? People don't often get excited about English players. So, yeah, I think I do feel sorry for Hendo, but at the same time, you have to question whether he's still first choice midfielder.
Yeah, well, ultimately, you don't question someone if they deliver, and I don't think he's done enough of that over the last couple of seasons, arguably. But
you say that, but often I do question people if they deliver. I have a man comes to my house every day, bringing me pineapples, and he says he's just doing his deliveries, but I find myself increasingly wondering why he's bringing me so many pineapples. And I said to him, Michael. His name is Michael. I said, Michael, why are you bringing me these pineapples? And he just said, you can't ask me that. And he was gone.
Oh, okay, because you see, I get frustrated when places can't deliver because I called up a Chinese recently and said do you deliver? And they said no, we do chicken, fish, and prawns, and I was pretty hey, classic, but it's still good. But yeah, anyway, the front three was it's still interesting because, of course, Firmino back on the bench here, having missed the Watford game. So we see the same front three with Origi on the wide and Mane up front again. And if it worked so well before, why change it? I guess.
Yeah, no, well, it certainly worked against Watford, and obviously Origi's got great form against Everton. But yeah,
it was. It was quite uneventful, and I think there was a huge lack of sort of creativity. And I will probably admit that Everton were, first half pretty much the better side for a lot of it. In fact, both games they've done kind of similar thing to us, where they've really caused us issues. I don't know what it is about Marco Silva. He does have a bit of a thing about playing against Liverpool.
He does. We've only ever beaten him once in his entire career as a manager. And
that was indeed the last game.
Indeed.
So.
You could arguably say we didn't deserve to beat him. So he's definitely got something on us.
He has. And I mean, they did create a few chances, got a few opportunities. Alisson made a good save at the feet of Theo Walcott. And to our credit, it wasn't as if we didn't create some chances. They just kept falling to the player who is currently most out of form in our team. And that's Mo Salah, who missed a couple of big chances that certainly last year he would have scored.
Mm. Yeah, that's been the theme of his season, really, isn't it? Is last year he would have scored it. Even ones he scored. He hasn't scored any this year, but he wouldn't have scored last year. And it's quite... You feel sorry for him because no one can really live up to those standards. He had such a blistering season, his debut season at Anfield. But it's a tad worrying, isn't it, to see him...
Well, what do we think's gone wrong?
Well... I don't know. Is it confidence? Is it momentum? Is it just that last season all the stars aligned and I wouldn't say he got lucky, but is he always that good?
Do we think that he may be being more marshalled by defenders, maybe?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's definitely the case. I think, he is our star player. He's our one of our talisman and our kind of star striker, and obviously opposition teams are going to do everything they can to neutralise that threat. And I think that's partly why we've seen Sadio Mane have such a great second half of the season, because the opposition defenders really kind of going for Salah has allowed and liberated Sadio Mane to just create so much more space, to create so many more chances, and to take those chances. So we're lucky in a way that we've got these two strikers where they can't contain both of them. But except in this case, when of course they could and did.
Well, this is it, and it is very frustrating because if Salah missing these chances, it could prove really costly. And so the first half ends 0-0, and it's not particularly eventful, but arguably lucky to go in at halftime 0-0. And then we get to the second half, and it is very much the same. But probably the biggest talking point from the game is not necessarily the 11 players on the pitch, but it's the substitutions and the choices that Klopp made.
Yeah. They were, shall we say, not the most inspiring, I think, for the fans or for anyone watching.
Well, let's address them. There was a double change on the hour, which is good for Klopp. He sometimes leaves it quite late, but you think, he's going to go and change it and try and change the momentum of the game. We need to go for this. Let's be honest. City are right on it now. We need to pick up wins and just keep our position at the top of the table. So Firmino comes on for Origi, which makes sense, and it's good to see Firmino back playing. He only missed a game, but it's still very important. And Wijnaldum comes off, who never really has very few good away games. Just there is something about him playing away, and it's rather than bringing on an attacking minded player like Shaqiri or Keita, it's Milner who comes on again.
Yeah, and Milner. I'm a big fan of James Milner, Matt, as you know, but he's a player for when you're winning. I would say he's a player to see a game out. If you've got something to protect, whether it's a lead or even a point, you put Milner on. He sits tight. He knocks people about. He's a sort of bit of a shouter. He marshals people into shape. And he's your night watchman in cricket terms, but he's not your match winner.
No.
And I know these words may come back to bite me later in the month of March, but he's not someone you put on to pluck a moment of magic out of the air. He's not Xherdan Shaqiri in that respect. And quite why Xherdan Shaqiri is currently not being allowed to be Xherdan Shaqiri, I do not know.
Especially in a game like this, where it really did look like we needed something else. These changes were made, and you thought, well, Firmino might be able to get the front three to click again. But what exactly is James Milner replacing Wijnaldum going to do? What's the difference between those two players? They basically do the same role, and currently it's not working. Yeah,
I mean. Yeah, what is, in the nicest way possible, what is Milner going to bring to this team? This team that we're playing today?
Yeah, I was going to say, throughout the season, he's vital, but
I agree.
At this precise moment, in this precise instance, I don't think this was the right thing to do.
No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And it's, this is borne out by the fact that we didn't go on to do anything for the rest of this game. But you do wonder, I mean, even someone like Daniel Sturridge, has reason to, you might think Sturridge might produce a moment of magic. It's optimistic, but, I mean...
He did it against Chelsea, remember?
Exactly. And, he's not done it since. He's not scored since, but he's kind of a player you have a bit more faith in of just surprising you. Whereas you'd have to be really surprised for James Milner to come on and turn this around.
Yeah, I suppose he just come on and score a penalty, for example, which he does, often. Yeah. Good for him. That's great, but
if we don't get a penalty, we're not going to see a Milner goal.
No. And so, yeah, it just carried on the way it was. And even when we got to the 85th minute, when Klopp finally decided to make another change, I don't even know what this was about. He brought Lallana on from Mane. And at which point I'm thinking, right, what has Shaqiri done? What has Keita done? What has Sturridge done? And I feel really bad for saying this, but Lallana is not the player to be bringing on. And especially not the player to be bringing on in a wide position, which has never been his best position.
No. And again, it's, there's a romantic part of everyone who thinks, if, Lallana was ever going to prove his worth to Liverpool, it would be in a game like this. In the same way, really, that Divock Origi did. You saw Divock Origi come on in the first Merseyside derby. You thought, oh, great, we must be desperate if we're bringing Origi on. And he had probably his defining moment in Liverpool shirt. But moments like that aren't common. And you can't rely on them. You have to be sort of pragmatic with your moments of excitement. And And again, Lallana is a player you bring on when you're winning a game. When you're 3-0 up, you want to rest one of the front three, so you put Adam Lallana on. Or you want to you've got a Champions League tie in midweek, one eye on that, take off Salah, put on Lallana. I don't know. But not when you've got 6 minutes left and you're trying to win a game. It's frustrating.
Particularly because in the Champions League final, when Salah was hauled down and had to come off, Lallana came on because we didn't have anybody else. And you look at that bench, and there are players who can cut. Now, Jurgen Shaqiri, I thought we bought him specifically because we didn't have anybody to do that. And now, I don't get it.
And that was his role at the start. In the first half of the season, that was what he did. He very rarely started games, but when he came on, he had an immediate impact. I mean, I think most of his goals he scored for Liverpool have come from off the bench, and I don't know what he's done. I would love to know. He's not played since the game against Wolves in the FA Cup.
Yeah, extraordinary. But anyway, as you can see by our frustration, it ends 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
With that, City take control of the title race, which is basically becoming, because they are now a point ahead of us with the same amount of games played. I mean, as if that wasn't annoying enough, Jurgen Klopp decided to blame the wind, which just made him look like a bloody idiot.
Yeah, I mean, walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain. Don't, not walk on through the wind and then blame it for a terrible goal of straw. That's not the song.
Well, it's like when your dad says something embarrassing in front of a crowd and doesn't quite understand why you're feeling very uncomfortable about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, do you not see how stupid that sounds and why everyone's now laughing at us?
Yeah, it's it's like when your dad kind of talks about a band that haven't been popular for a few years. It's like, oh, Dad, you don't get it, do you? Like, stop.
It's just it was very cringe and just gave them another reason to mock us. And unfortunately, a 0-0 draw. Although, did you see some of the jokes that came out about it? Because Everton basically celebrated like they won the game, and I saw like a mock-up of an Amazon DVD with the title with like Everton badges on and the title "That Time When We Drew 0-0 with Liverpool," featuring extended content and interviews with the team. I lost it.
I mean, I like Everton as a club, and I like our rivalry with Everton, and it's quite a friendly rivalry. But at times like that, you do think, oh, poor little club. Like, I mean, everyone wants to do well in the Merseyside derby, but it's not even like they won the bloody thing.
It's true.
They're clutching at straws is a phrase that springs to mind, rather.
They haven't won it since '99, have they? Oh no, in the league.
They've not won it at Anfield since '99.
Yeah, that's it.
They've won it. I think they won it under Roy Hodgson, which sounds about right, doesn't it?
Roy Hodgson?
As in when we had Hodgson.
Oh, right.
Manager, I think Everton beat us that season.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I was thinking, when did he manage Everton? Back in the 70s.
Give it a couple of years. He'll manage Everton.
Fair enough.
He's on that like merry-go-round, isn't he? Pulis, Hodgson, Moyes, Allardyce, Pardew. Soon, all of them will have managed every club in England.
Well, every club outside, say, the top six, probably, yeah.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, very frustrating. And it means that we haven't actually won away. Do you know the last time we won away, Owen? In the Premier League, that is.
In the Premier League, I'm not going to look this up. So I will say Brighton in January.
Yes, that was the last time we won away.
Was that away? Was that
the Amex? We haven't won away since the beginning of January.
So it's just shy of 2 months. It's, not great, is it?
That is not the sort of form that wins you a title, sadly. But we return home for our next game. Still in the Premier League. And this time we are hosting a club who have caused us problems in the past in Sean Dyche's Burnley.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since they caused us too many problems. A couple of years ago, they were really we couldn't seem to play them without losing it once in a season. But we've done all right the last couple of years, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, after a couple of tough defeats against them, we've never played brilliantly against them, but I don't know if they're a team you can really play brilliantly against. So
Yeah.
It's about getting the win no matter what, really, I suppose.
I mean, we had a good result against them in, was it December? I think it was the first game after the Merseyside derby, actually, wasn't it? Funnily enough. Good win, but it felt like an even better win because it was, coming from behind.
But yeah, let's talk about this game because there's quite a lot to get through here. As we start, let's look at the team sheet, and it's a man we just mentioned who's the biggest surprise in the lineup. A very rare start indeed. Adam Lallana is in from the beginning.
Yeah, many fans weren't too happy with his inclusion. It seemed a bit of a backward step, you might say. We really needed to win. We'd given up what was a massive lead in the title race. And kind of the last thing Liverpool fans really wanted at that point was to look at the starting lineup and see Adam Lallana. It's a horrible thing to say, but let's be honest, it's the truth.
I guess the only hope was he was in his best position, the position he had established himself in. So
yeah, that's something.
It turns out, though, it was actually a brilliant decision, as he was, without question, the man of the match as an exceptional performance. So
absolutely, cometh the hour, cometh the man.
But that's not half of it, because let's dive straight into the game, and we concede after 6 minutes, quite controversially.
Yes. Was this the when James Tarkowski had his hands all over Alisson, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so Ashley Westwood scores direct from a corner. Oh dear.
It's like having Adam Bogdan in goal.
Oh God, it is. What is it about Liverpool goalkeepers and just making howlers that you can't forget? But this wasn't a howler because James
from
Tarkowski,
corners as well.
Yeah,
I think this is the third Liverpool goalkeeper to concede from a corner since we started doing this podcast.
That was only like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
It's ridiculous.
But it did happen. But we aren't laying any blame on Alisson for this one, are we?
No, we're not, because he's a footballer ultimately at the end of the day, and not a sumo wrestler, which is a sport that James Tarkowski seems to have taken up since he last played for England, which is, I'm sure, like most people, the only time I've ever heard of him.
Well, that's it, right? And I mean, 999 times out of 1,000, that's given as a foul. Yeah. So it's just our luck that it wasn't, really. But there we go. And Burnley score early, and I mean the jitters are sort of setting in, but not in the team because we respond brilliantly.
We do, and we're kind of straight back in it from then. That was what was that? Like you say, 6 minutes. Within quarter of an hour we're level. We're suddenly firing on all cylinders. It was sort of the wake-up call we needed.
It was pretty much. It was good work on Salah on the right-hand side. I mean, we basically stepped on the gas on the moment it'd gone in. Salah does great work, sort of crosses it in. It's a bit of a fumble from Tom Heaton and comes off. I think it is James Tarkowski. It also comes off or it deflects off. And I mean, I think is it a no-look goal? It might be. But Firmino taps in from a yard out.
Yeah, it might be actually. Yeah, I can't quite remember.
No, I mean, he just scored so many of them. But Firmino can't miss, really. And we're back in it.
And it's not long after that, in fact, that we're going forwards again. It gets even better.
It does. It's some fantastic work from Adam Lallana, that man, who, after, I think it's a corner comes in and it's sort of half cleared. They try and clear it. Lallana slides in and blocks it off Phil Bardsley. It takes a ricochet off him and eventually falls to Sadio Mane. And it's a beautiful finish first time. Curls it into the far right-hand corner. And we're ahead sensationally, really.
We're ahead. And it's kind of, not where you'd expect to be after 6 minutes, if you know what I mean. It's kind of, we've turned it around impressively. And, great work from Adam Lallana. As you say, that clearance, that block he put on from the clearance, was the start of that goal. And, I'm not sure there's ever been a player who's kind of turned his reputation around with Liverpool fans so quickly as Adam Lallana in that 26 minutes from kick-off to going 2-1 up.
Well, no one ever doubted how hard he worked. I mean, look at the first game he ever played under Klopp. He ended up coming off after 75 minutes and collapsing into his arms because he was so shattered. I never denied his work ethic. It was just the quality that was sort of in question. But that was a fantastic bit of work. So,
well, yeah. I mean, he's got one of those things. He's a bit like Sturridge or, even Nathaniel Klein. in that he was having in great form, got some really like persistent injuries that took him out for a long time, not just like one knock, but over and over again. Really struggled to ever find full fitness for over a year. And by the time he came back to the side had moved on that much without him, and it was it's the same with Danny Ings. It's quite. It's not that they're bad footballers, and it's not that they're not really hard workers. It's just that they're no longer good enough for the team we've become.
No, and as you're talking about podcasts, from years gone by, guaranteed 2 years ago, if we'd been talking about this game, we wouldn't be 2-1 up at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Although we would definitely have had a goalkeeper who would concede straight from a corner.
Can't argue with that. And I mean, after that, it is a lot more of us, although Burnley are still sort of threatening a little bit as we get towards half-time. The irony of this game, after we talked about, Jurgen Klopp's ridiculous excuse of the wind, is the wind was actually playing havoc with this game, because the ball was just like, you see the ball go in the air and players couldn't judge where it was going to land because it was just whipped out all over the place.
Proper kind of first round of the FA Cup game, you know what I mean? You're completely at the mercy of the elements.
The weather was all over the place. Obviously, wind coming off the Mersey and up the hill towards Anfield Road, and it was just all over the place. I remember Firmino early in the second half, which we're getting into now, hitting a shot, and it was sort of a squirmer, but the wind took it away from the goal more than his shot did. I mean, it wasn't going in anyway, but it just moved so weirdly. It was quite amazing, really. So, yeah, it was really affecting the game. But as we say, Firmino in the second half, we're given a bit of a gift here. Yet another mistake from a goalkeeper in front of the Kop, as Tom Heaton throws the ball direct out to Mo Salah, who charges into the goal. Really should pass, but doesn't, because he's desperate to get a goal to break his duck. It's blocked, but falls to Firmino to tap in for his second tap in of the game, and it's 3-1.
Yeah. And it's at this point you really relax. 2-1, Burnley looked like they could come back in it. 3-1, there's not really any chance at all.
Yeah, you think that. And I mean, to be fair, we do control a lot of the game after that. Understandably, Burnley do start going long, which is what they're built to do, basically. And they've got the players to do it, so you can't really argue with that. We see the return to Anfield, which I never actually thought we would, of Peter Crouch at 38.
Good man. Now, is he on his 500 Premier League appearances, I think he's made, or is it 100 Premier League goals? I can't remember what.
Something like that, but you and I share something in common with him, don't we, Owen?
Yes.
We're both hosts of podcasts.
Of course, yeah. I was starting to really struggle with what you meant.
Yes, we are both podcasts. I mean, admittedly, his is doing slightly better than ours, but that's fairly understandable.
Well, I mean, horses for courses, He's not got a really good Chinese over the road from him.
No, they don't do fun features about Twitter accounts or fake made up players or what else have we done that's good?
Or the 60-second challenge.
Yep. Or leading Liverpool Football Club's conversation. Don't do that.
Yeah, or they don't do any of what we do, really. It's just not got the banter.
No, they do their own thing, and that's clearly more successful. So as we get to the end of the game, thinking it's all over, it suddenly wasn't. As in stoppage time, we really do switch off. Very frustratingly, actually. Allowing Johan Gudmundsson, he has scored a few against us, the Icelander, to finish off a shot in the penalty box. As I say, our players looked a bit static. It was as if almost the game was over, really. And the nerves are back. Yeah,
I mean, he's scored twice against us as Gudmundsson. And both times they've come in the last few minutes. The 87th minute was last time he scored against us, which was that New Year's Day game last year.
Oh, where Clavan scored the winner.
Where Clavan scored the winner. So he equalised on 87 minutes, and Clavan scored on 90, I think. But so he leaves it late. He's an interesting one as well. If you want to talk about, I think it was a month before last, we were talking about the umlauts on players' names.
Yeah, explain what he's got.
Well, I can't. He's got a very sort of funny kind of Scandinavian D in good for Gudmundsson.
I don't quite know what that is. I mean, it's very common in the Icelandic language, but
Mm. I think it's kind of because it's like a D that's at a slight angle with a slight squiggle over the long bit, but it doesn't go all the way down.
yeah, it's like if anything, it's more like a. Is it a B or a D? Would you say?
I'd say it's probably closest to a D or maybe an
Yeah,
upside down Q.
yeah, it's like a D with the top bent over and then a line
Mm.
through it.
Yeah,
It's like a little mini T on top of anything.
yeah. I mean, now I look at it on this particular website, I'm looking at it. It looks like a slightly flattened O with a tiny little goat on top.
I'm going to find out what it's called. I feel like it's very important.
It is. I mean, yeah, I think it is.
It's a letter used in Old English or Middle
Ah,
English, Icelandic, and Faroese.
there we go.
There we go. I'm just trying to have a look. It was later replaced with either a DH and then a D, and is translated as a D. It's called an F.
Good or what?
An F, like saying an S with a lisp.
An S.
ETH, F.
F. I like
Yeah,
an F.
yeah, like an F or an F.
An F.
I can see why they changed it.
Yeah, that's needlessly confusing. It's like a D, but it's actually an S.
Yeah, and it looks like a sort of a TQ, and it's pronounced with an H as well at some
Yeah,
point. Yeah, I don't know.
upside down P. So it's actually Johan Berg Guthmundsson?
Guthmundsson.
Guthmundsson.
Guthmundsson. That's only the way you say the letter, not the actual letter. But anyway, we've learnt more about the Atlantic. Interestingly, his assist was from Matej Vidra, who also has a funny letter in his name.
Which one's he got? It
He's
looks
got
normal to me.
he's got a sort of double accented E in his first name,
Yeah.
which is officially called. It just says the thing. It's a Czech Upper Sorbian and Lower Sorbian alphabet. It's called a Dulles Sill, apparently.
Oh yeah, it's like a little arrowhead pointing
It's got a
downwards.
hat, essentially.
Yeah, or like only is just two like horns. It's a little horned E,
Okay.
or like a bird landing on his head.
Yeah, so there we go. That's us clutching at straws a little bit, but
He's also got a very prominent nipple on his Wikipedia picture.
there's one more goal to talk about in this game.
Sorry,
Before Owen gets distracted by men in tight shirts.
this happened last month with Virgil van Dijk. I seem to remember. I was talking about his nipples for quite a long time.
You were, yeah, absolutely. But I wish you hadn't.
Me too. Me too.
We've got another goal to talk about, and it's actually
Got
very.
another 3 games to talk
I
about.
know. It's actually a goal very reminiscent of another one we scored quite recently. Sadio Mane gets himself a very, very late fourth goal to secure the tie. Fourth goal for the team, that is. But it shouldn't count because the assist is from Daniel Sturridge, who is offside when he receives the ball. However, it's a great run and finish from Sadio, and it does secure the game. But it's the same as when Andy Robertson handled it on the way to Mane scoring. Do you remember that against Palace? I think it was.
Yeah, that was quite late on as well, wasn't it?
It was at the end of the game, exactly the
4-3.
same.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because then they got one afterwards, didn't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
It was 4-2, then 4-3, as opposed to 3-2, then 4-2. Yeah,
I mean, this is one heck of a game that does remind me of that game. It's very similar, really.
Until you said that, I think they were sort of indistinguishable in my mind as well. Funny.
So, yeah, there you go. Another team that causes us problems, but we do beat them with a glass of goals, but we do need to be a bit more careful defensively.
But at least it is a win, which is turning around this slightly worrying dip in form we've had. And we're getting back to that form we had in January, where we're not necessarily playing well all throughout the game, and we're making it hard for ourselves, but we're coming away with a win. Whereas what we really saw in February was making it hard for ourselves and coming away with 1 point instead of 3.
Well, we certainly needed it because the next game takes us to Europe in our only European trip of the month. But it was quite a daunting one. Having drawn the first leg 0-0 at home, and with an away record in the Champions League this season that can be described as dire at best, we arrive in Munich at the Allianz Arena to face the German giants of Bayern Munich.
Well, we haven't played much at the Allianz Arena. This is only our second ever game, or third ever game there. First official game after the 2017 Audi Cup.
Oh, you always bang on about the bloody Audi Cup.
Mate,
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It matters to me.
Okay, well, things matter to me that I don't mention.
Right, what?
Um,
Come on, now's your chance.
Go on, talk about the bloody Addict Cup again. Go on,
I mean, we beat Bayern Munich, what was it, 3-0? An amazing goal from Daniel Sturridge. Ryan Kent was immense. And then we go and spaff it on the wall on penalties to Atletico Madrid. I wouldn't mind, Matt, but it seems so unnecessarily representative of so much of the last few years of being a Liverpool fan. You know, a really good performance against a side that you'd think on paper were better than us. But actually, no, we're better than them. And you think, oh my God, maybe the good times are here to stay. And then we fuck it up in the final needlessly. And it just, I know it's only a friendly. I know it doesn't matter. I know most people, if it wasn't for either me thinking about it or you having me constantly harping on about it, wouldn't even remember that such a competition had ever taken place. But it sums up everything that breaks my heart about being a Liverpool fan. I can't let it go, okay? I just can't.
Okay. Well, at least put it to one side for now because we have this game to talk about. As we mentioned, this was a game. I think probably I was more nervous about this game than many others in the season, just because of knowing. I almost felt like it wasn't going to work out. Particularly, as you say, we'd lost all the away games in the group stage, which is unprecedented. Particularly, then go through anyway. And Bayern Munich, yes, they are not the greatest Bayern Munich side in the world, but I mean, look at the players they have, like Hummels, Neuer, Rafinha, Javi Martinez, Alaba, Ribéry, Rodriguez. It's ridiculous. They have a fantastic team. You know, they were a huge threat, and we were turning up with a terrible away record. Generally, we haven't won away since January. We haven't won away in Europe since Manchester City a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't actually won a game on the continent since Porto in February 2018.
So there you go, over a year.
Yeah, which is mad considering we've been to the Champions League final since then, and now we're in the Champions League knockout stage again.
Yeah,
we've arguably got incredibly lucky.
But if you look at the lineup with the familiar back five and front three, the midfield was yet again the court of controversy. Still no Keita. In fact, he wasn't even in the matchday squad. No Shaqiri, still on the bench. No Fabinho, who has arguably been a real linchpin in our team, certainly since sort of late last year. And it was the trusted midfield three of Wijnaldum, Milner and Hendo, the one that had screwed up so badly in every other away game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind Keita missing out because I think Keita's been not at his best so far, but Fabinho certainly, not only has he been brilliant, but he's been particularly brilliant in the Champions League. And it seems, well, I don't really understand why we wouldn't play him.
No, I don't either particularly, but we did.
You know, I was just saying, it's sort of the biggest Champions League game of the season. It's got the most riding on it, arguably. You know, he's been unstoppable in Europe, even in the games where the team hasn't played very well, and I don't understand why we've not played him. But
well, I mean, fortunately for us, and unfortunately for our captain, it didn't take long for that situation to resolve itself because Hendo picked up an injury just after 10 minutes and had to come off, and Fabinho came on.
Yeah, so really everything I've just said was pointless.
But you state your opinion, and I think a majority of Liverpool fans agree. And I mean, you look at the result and the way we played this game. You know, it's not fair to say that with Henderson playing, it wouldn't have been different. But the evidence is there. You know, Fabinho came on. He proved he should have started. He was fantastic in this game, and so were Liverpool.
An absolutely magnificent performance, like vintage Liverpool, vintage Klopp Liverpool. So basically, last year's Klopp Liverpool.
Well, yeah, but there was a lot more degree of control about it. I mean, Bayern did come at us early on, did threaten us a bit, caused us one or two problems, but we, generally dealt with it quite well. We looked dangerous, particularly on the break, going over the top with the pace we had, and that is how we got the opening goal.
What an opening goal. I could watch this on loop forever.
Explain it to us, Owen.
I'll explain it as well as I could. If it comes to Mane, sort of on the edge of the area, I can't remember who gives it to him. I can't remember who's got
It's
the
Van
assist.
Dijk. Van Dijk plays a long ball, basically.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, a massive ball from Van Dijk. Falls to Mane on the edge of the area. Manuel Neuer, for some reason, rushes out of his goal. And Mane, calm as you like, playing as if it's not at all the Champions League, round of 16, but the Audi Cup semi-final instead. Kind of turns it, Neuer goes to ground. Mane basically, takes it round him, outstrips him. We're talking about one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Mane takes it round him like he's a Sunday League player, hooks it into the net. Well, it's sort of, more a chip than a hook, really. But
It's a brilliant, because he has to wait over a couple of defenders who are tracking back.
Yeah, so when Neuer isn't, he's left Neuer for dead. Neuer's no longer the last line of defence. Mane's past him, and he sort of lofts it over the incoming defenders. But there's really nothing they can do about it. It's in the back of the net. It's a beautiful goal. It's a vital goal. It's a vital away goal. And now Bayern Munich are going to need to put 2 past Alisson and Virgil van Dijk, and I can't see it happening.
Well, Bayern have to win the game now. Simple as that. Like, a draw won't do for them anymore.
They have to win the game, but that's exactly it. Yeah.
So, to be fair, after this goes in, I think Bayern have their best spell of the entire fixture, both home and away. They do come at us well, and they cause us quite a few problems. They finally seem to wake up and realise they're a good team, because they really had, they've been very defensive at Anfield, got what they thought would be a good result. But at home, they did seem to struggle early on, but they did break us down and eventually got probably a deserved equaliser, though it wasn't them who scored it.
No, it was Joel Matip. His second own goal for Liverpool.
Indeed.
But I can't remember too much about this one.
Well, I mean, basically, there's an there's an overload defenders on our left, their right hand side. Andrew Robertson's basically left 2-on-1. He can't deal with it. Ball comes across. Alisson doesn't have a chance to judge it properly. I think he tries to come out and he doesn't really get anywhere near it. And I mean, Matip tries to clear it and it goes into his own net. I mean, if he hadn't, Lewandowski was right behind him anyway. So Matip kind of couldn't do a huge amount about it, really.
No. It's unlucky. It's not really ever... Well, it's never a position you want to be in, particularly in the Champions League. But Matip, he's psychologically strong. I mean, if that was, a lesser player, you'd worry about the effect on it would have on them. But it's unlucky more than it's. You can't really blame him for it. You can't hold it against him.
No, look, ultimately, as I said, Bayern were playing well, and going to half time 1-1 as they were. They were definitely in the ascendancy, and there were real nerves. I was, yes, we were still in it, but you would guarantee, you put your house on the fact that Bayern would come out in that second half and give everything, because they've got to score, and it's a kind of, balls to the wall kind of thing from them, surely.
Yeah. But that suits us best, I think, when we've got that kind of counter-attacking chance. It's, it gives us a real edge. It's a really sort of trump card for us.
Well, you say that, but actually, it wasn't that ended up with what happened in the second half. Because despite what Bayern had to do, and they had to because they'd have gone out if they didn't, we had complete and utter domination of the game in the second half. Like, controlled it. They had no possession. We were calm. We had the ball. We were the team who were holding. We weren't holding on. We were the ones going forward to score again. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. But what I meant is, that was my view at half time, rather than what actually happened. That's what I thought would happen.
Yeah. It was a remarkable second half performance. I mean, at no real point did Bayern ever look like they get back into it. And then we basically got what almost guaranteed to be the winner on around the sort of 70th minute from a corner. It's that man again, the single, one of the greatest signings in Liverpool history, the big Dutchman Virgil van Dijk.
Our record signing for a reason.
Yeah, fantastic header.
Yeah, I mean, that's a match winner, really, isn't it? There's no better way back from that for Bayern Munich. You couldn't see them getting another two goals at this point. I mean, they needed us to score their first one for them, so Do you not think? I think this was a point when everyone.
I think so. But at 1-1, you know that, one goal for Bayern, they're now ahead. Getting two didn't seem particularly likely at the performance of the second half.
And I mean, yeah, they needed to. If they got another one, it was still advantageous. And it's just, all the scenarios really point to us getting through at this point. And, after about 15 minutes after that, it was signed, sealed, delivered.
It was indeed a breakaway counter, like you talked about earlier. They finally, started to appear late in the game. Brilliant ball from Salah, who had been a menace all day, despite not scoring again, not getting a goal after several chances. But this was a perfect itch pass. Sadio Mane gets another header, and it's 3-1, and it's looking like one hell of a performance away.
I mean, this is a fantastic result. To go to they were one of the most fearsome teams left in the competition, I think. By Munich, you'd say Munich, Madrid, Juventus, Barcelona, City. It wasn't an easy tie by any stretch, and we made it look very easy. And just, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal performance. Quarterfinals of Champions League, and a real pedigree win. It's not like last season when we got to the quarterfinals by beating Porto, who, with the greatest of respect to them, were the easiest side left in the tie. It's a real statement of intent, and it's put every other team in Europe on notice.
I think so. And, who'd have thought the quarter final of the Champions League when we were losing 2-0 away in Belgrade. But
absolutely.
Speaking of going through 3-1 as we did on aggregate and indeed on the night, we're through to the quarterfinals. And I mean, the draw was tough. Like, there were a serious amount of good teams. The only real disappointment was that Real Madrid had got thumped by one of the most surprising teams in world football in Ajax.
I mean, I was delighted with that, to be honest, because I hate Real Madrid. After last season, what they did to us, I think they're a bunch of frauds, and I like Ajax, and I was very pleased to see them.
Did you actually watch any of it? Bloody hell, they're so good.
Yeah,
they really are. Like, everyone, you mentioned to me how you thought they were one of the easiest draws left. I did not want them. They look terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you saying, I think you put it best when you said they were us last season.
Yeah, in terms of the team no one expected to be brilliant, and then going to teams that they shouldn't be beating and tearing to shreds.
Yeah. I mean, it's a perfect comparison. They are exactly what we did last year, except they didn't come up against us. Well, they haven't yet.
No.
And we're still here. We're not going anywhere.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
But we ended up landing basically the best draw we could have hoped for.
Yeah, it was Porto again.
Amazing. When you consider the sides left in it, that was amazing.
Yeah, we got really lucky there.
Including 4 English sides out of 8, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, all the kind of signs at this point, because the draw for the quarterfinals and the semi-finals were made at the same time. And if we beat Porto, we get either Barcelona or Man United, who have been drawn against each other. And I think it's Man City, Spurs, and then Ajax Juventus. And, all the signs seem to be pointing towards a Man City Liverpool final, some might say, or indeed Barcelona Man City final. But so you might wonder whether that's been rigged for the TV. But in terms of the quarterfinals, it's the best draw we could have got, easily the best draw we could have got, and while not being easy, it's easily the best draw.
No, I certainly wouldn't expect to have quite as much joy as we did last time. I think they would definitely pose a bigger challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, I think they posed the most doable challenge of all of them. So we'll see in next month's podcast, which will probably be released in mid-July, when we find out what happens. For now, let us return to the Premier League and another away day. That isn't necessarily as straightforward as it should be. We're on the bank of the River Thames, specifically in West London and Fulham.
Good old Fulham. Yeah, it's a team that have been disappointing this season, would we say?
Yeah, they've blown their chance. Really, like they came up and did everything wrong as far as I'm concerned.
It's a shame because they had a really good side, really good manager. You thought they'd have a chance of. Could they come up at the same time as Wolves? They did.
Yeah, they came up last year.
Yeah, I mean Wolves just have instantly established themselves as a Premier League force, and you feel like you watch Wolves now and you feel like it's been a few years they've been back in the league. Whereas Fulham are just the complete opposite.
I mean, you can see a plan with Fulham, and you see like all the signings have been based on a system and a way of playing and a kind of plan. Fulham just threw money at the wall essentially and bought anybody and everybody they could, and obviously that doesn't work.
Yeah, there was not much of a strategy, but they still presented a slightly tricky challenge for us.
They did, because they just got rid of Claudio Ranieri at this point, hadn't they?
So they were being managed by Scott Parker as a kind of caretaker manager, which is again just makes me feel really old.
Yeah.
Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, and Scott Parker are all now managing in British football.
Joey Barton is as well.
Joey Barton, Thierry Henry's just had his first managerial job. Patrick Vieira is a manager somewhere. John Terry's at Aston Villa. It's like, it's when players like that are managers, and when players that you can remember signing for Liverpool are playing for the Liverpool Legends side, and kits that you bought are now available again as retro kits. Oh. You start to feel really bloody old.
Yeah, and we're not really relatively, but you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Scott Parker. So another one for our list of managers we'd never managed against before.
Yeah.
In a slightly surprising turn, but yeah, in terms of the lineup, it's the same as the last league game. So Lallana was still back in midfield. Apart from that, pretty much everyone you'd expect: Fabinho and Jorginho Wijnaldum in the midfield. But this wasn't, as you say, they caused us a lot of problems. I mean, we were not very good. I'm just going to say that. We weren't.
Yeah, it was a little bit after a Lord Mayor show, wasn't it? In terms of, we have this great win against Bayern Munich. And again, you think this is going to be the launch pad now for a really good end of the season. And just instantly, we're kind of back to being really, really sort of frustrating again.
It's it wasn't great, and I mean they did cause us a few problems. Of course, they have a former Liverpool player in their ranks, Ryan Babel, who seemed to paint his hair red for this game, of all things.
Well, I think he's had it like that for a while, but
has he? I thought it was a different colour.
I think it's been since he came back to the Premier League with Fulham. But I
mean, either way, it's
a nice touch. He's not the only ex-Liverpool man they've got in their ranks, is he?
I'm trying to spot who else it is, and I can't see it from this list of players who are currently in the squad.
No, he wasn't actually in the squad for this game, but he's in the Fulham squad at the moment.
Lazar Markovic.
Lazar Markovic, who was, I think, Ranieri bought. Ranieri got sacked, and probably the unluckiest man in football is unwanted again.
I was going to say, he's not unlucky, is he? Let's be frank.
Well, I don't know.
I don't trust his attitude, sadly.
I don't trust much about him, not just his attitude.
No, exactly. But anyway, we did struggle, but we did take the lead through one of the best bits of play we put out. Some fantastic slick passing, cutting right through the heart of their defence. And Sadio Mane is in the form of his life to finish it. Yes,
I can't remember the goal too well, to be honest. I was in Sheffield at the time.
Of course you were, because you have a very strange life. Essentially it is, as I said, there's some fantastic slick passing play. Firmino gets the assist, but there's about 3 or 4 people involved on the left-hand side. Great running from Andy Robertson as per. And it's a fantastic finish from Sadio Mane, right into the far corner. And as I say, he's in the form of his life.
He is. He's scoring so many, but I am struggling to differentiate one from the other. But he is... and this is what the point I made earlier about how defences are focusing on Salah so much that Mane has just had this complete liberation, and he's responding to that with just such blistering form. It's magnificent to see, because for a long time last year he was the third man of the Liverpool strike force, and he'd gone from being our kind of star striker in 2016-17 to, almost being a forgotten man last season. So he's back. Yeah, he's back in the big time properly, and it's very nice to see because he's such a likable player as well, isn't he?
And he does a huge amount of work for charity and things, and for his local village. And like, have you seen the thing recently? He's invested money to build like a hospital, a school, a bunch of houses, and a stadium in his local town.
Top man. That town's going to get a lot bigger very quickly.
He's given every person in his village the equivalent of like £100 or something.
Ah, do you want to move to Senegal with me?
For £100?
I wouldn't say no to that.
It's quite sunny out there, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't think the internet's as good, but there we go.
It's probably better than it is here, to be honest.
Sure that uploading podcasts would be easier.
Yeah.
But Senegal aside, we the rest of the first half still not particularly great. We do create a couple more chances. Again, it's Salah not necessarily finishing as he should, but none of the Firmino's not particularly great either. In the midfield, is not doing well. In fact, if anything, Fulham do look dangerous, do cause us problems. You'd like to hope in the second half that would change, and if anything, it got even worse, causing us more problems. In fact, they did score on sort of the hour mark through Tom Kearney, which was rightly given offside, but it was kind of showing you the threat. It was a real, but you look, Salah was incredibly selfish and not finishing. Firmino was poor. Lallana and Wijnaldum were just anonymous. The midfield was getting completely overrun. And then it got even worse, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there was a sort of uncharacteristic moment of madness from Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. It's with Milner, actually. Again, Milner had come on at this point. He come on for Lallana, I think. Mm-hmm. He'd only been on the pitch for about 2 minutes. He sort of, I mean, God knows what he's doing because he's in plenty of space, but it's a sort of clearance that goes backwards. Absolutely sort of shanks it over his left-hand shoulder. Van Dijk's running in. And kind of Van Dijk and Alisson are both heading for the same ball. It's kind of on the edge of the penalty area. Van Dijk heads it towards Alisson. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm not sure why Alisson didn't then kind of pick it up, but it goes past Alisson and it's left to Ryan Babel. He's an ex-Liverpool man. He's gone on record as saying he wants Liverpool to win the league this season. And here he is, with a ball at his feet and an open goal in front of them to score a goal with, 6 minutes left on the clock that could well... it's about 15 minutes left on the clock. It could score a goal that could well completely ruin Liverpool's title chances. And he almost looks apologetic as he kind of taps it in. He doesn't celebrate. He doesn't make anything of it, but he's got no choice but to kind of touch it into the net, and he looks like he wishes the ground would just swallow him up.
Yeah,
and I think probably Alisson and Virgil van Dijk feel the same. But I mean, what were they doing? What was Milner doing? What the hell was going on?
Yeah, well, James Milner did say at the end of the game, he was like, manager told me to come on and settle things down, so I thought I'd shank it backwards after 2 minutes. Which I thought was very funny.
I mean, I think it's more Van Dijk's error than Alisson's,
It's a combination. I think there's a lack of communication. I think Van Dijk misjudges the ball in terms of how Alisson doesn't come out quick enough. Van Dijk doesn't just end up Van Dijk doesn't read. He's not going to be able to deal with it and be able to just boost it clear. It's a howler. There's no question about it. And as you say, Ryan Babel scores one of the most rejectful goals I've ever seen. I mean, you've seen the picture with his face as he puts it in. It's almost like this kind of, oh no, why did this had to happen to me? So funny.
He does look, I wouldn't say ungrateful, but he doesn't want to score that, does he? He really does.
No, it looks like he sort of almost knew it was going to happen, and he was just trying to brace himself for it.
Yeah.
But we can laugh about it because that's not the end of it. Shortly, a few minutes later, we owe a great deal of gratitude to Fulham's goalkeeper Sergio Rico for hauling Sadio Mane over the box. Yeah,
I mean, what the hell happened here?
Yeah, so the ball's in the area, kind of comes in. I think it's half a shot or a cross. It's sort of half cleared, and another player gets it, and then Mane ends up picking it up and turning. And as he's dribbling along the area, Sergio Rico and their goals come out, and I don't think he quite knows what to do, and he just sort of puts an arm over Mane and clears him out, essentially. And a penalty's awarded. Yeah,
it's kind of Alisson's off the hook for the stupidest goalkeeping error of the day, that's for sure.
Well, it might still be the stupidest error, but it doesn't, cost us as much as it costs them because James Milner, who of course was part of the problem to concede, does what he does best and keeps calm and converts the penalty. That eventually wins us the game.
And this is exactly what we were saying about Milner earlier. When you're kind of, he's good for scoring a penalty, but well, actually, no. This is I shouldn't bring it up because that's unfair on Milner. He did really well here, and having made that mistake to let the equaliser in, it takes quite strong strength of character to stand there from 12 yards and score the winner. So well done, Milner. I'm not gonna pick you apart for that one.
No, I don't think so.
Sort of from villain to hero in about a quarter of an hour. It was nothing more needs to be said.
No, absolutely, and we get a vital win as we get 3 more points.
Vital win.
But I mean, if we're gonna chase City down as we now have to for the title, our away form has got to get better.
It has, particularly given that I think Fulham. Have they already been relegated?
Not quite at this stage, no.
Not quite, no. But
they were basically going now.
If we're labouring to do this to Fulham, what are we going to do when we come up against like Chelsea or,
other sides, even other sides fighting for the title, like Cardiff or whatever.
We've got some
fighting to stay up. Sorry.
So we've got some really tricky away games left this season. Places like Newcastle, Southampton. If we're struggling against Fulham, it doesn't fill one with the utmost of confidence, does it?
No, but we can't really think about that for this, certainly for this month in this podcast, because we have one more game left, and it's at home, and it's a biggie.
It is a biggie. It's one of the defining moments in the title race, some might say, and it's at home to Pochettino's Tottenham Hotspur.
Yes, again, a team that we've had quite intermittent results against. Of course, last year they cheated their way to a 2-2 draw with us by diving in the penalty box. And then earlier on this season, Gini Wijnaldum broke his long-awaited wait for an away goal in the Premier League at Wembley Stadium, of all places.
Yeah, at the home of football.
In a dominant 2-1 win, which sounds odd to say.
No, it does, but I know exactly what you mean. And this was a very different kettle of fish again, this game, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, there were very much different stakes on the line here. Tottenham were basically all but out of the title race. They had threatened to get there and then had a horrible dip in form. So now top 4 was on, because I think the 4 teams, Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, were separated by like 3 points or something. So they were desperate for the points, but obviously so were we.
Yeah. Like you say, they'd really kind of blown their own title chances, but they still had a lot to play for. But it was vital for us. It was a must-win, and I mean, it had all the trappings of a really good game. I don't know if it turned out to be quite as good as it was.
I think there's certainly quite a lot to talk about, though. It is quite, if we look at the lineup, it is pretty much the strongest thing with that midfield that I'm now going to call it. So you can pretty much guess for yourself who those 3 are. But still, we don't see, our number 8 or number 23, sadly. Don't feature at all this month, which is bizarre.
Which is funny, given that, a couple of years ago, to have a month without an 8 or without our 8 or 23 would have been absolutely unthinkable.
It is crazy, right? But that is the nature of shirt numbers and the nature of the game. But it actually ended up being quite a tactical match, speaking of tactics, because in the first half, Spurs lined up with a 5-3-2 or 3-5, whatever you want to call it, 3 at the back, and they were dreadful. We completely overran them. We got a deserved lead after 15 minutes. Bobby Firmino heads in a brilliant Andy Robertson cross. But I mean, it's so much control. I mean, the amount of space that Robbo and Trent had on either side was extraordinary. I mean, we could have had 6 or 7.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fantastic cross from Robertson. Fantastic cross, fantastic header. But yeah, we should have done better. We had a lot of space. We had most of the chances. We were on top for the first half. Salah had several good goes at goal that he spurned, and
in fact, spurned every. Yeah, well, he didn't score at all this month. So
you can't spell spurned without Spurs.
Well, you can, because there's no second S.
You can't spell Spurs without Spurs.
There you go. There we go. That was tenuous.
Yeah, moving on.
So yeah, it was a dominant first half, but we talk about the first half in such broad terms because there wasn't any other goals, despite how dominant we were and how much control we had over the game. And so guaranteed the second half wasn't going to be like that. And as I say, talking about tactics, the second half tweak from Spurs didn't make any changes, but they pushed Danny Rose forward, I think, and played Vertonghen as left back. Went 4-4-1-1, and the tide started to turn.
We lost our grip on the game. We lost control. We certainly stopped creating so much going forwards, and they were starting to make us look. Well, they became the better side. It's as simple as that. They became the dominant side, and we were starting to look more and more like conceding. And then we did.
Yeah, unfortunately, we did. And then around the 70th minute, Lucas Moura, who'd probably been their best threat, finishes off after a quick passing move. Once again, the goal shouldn't stand.
It shouldn't stand. The ball was still moving when I think the free kick was taken. But we ourselves benefited from a goal like that against Fulham on Remembrance Sunday.
I do remember that. Ironically.
It was offside. That is ironic. Yeah, I just picked up on what you meant there. It was. I think it was an offside. Alisson took the free kick. The ball was still moving. He gave it to Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold gave it to Salah. Liverpool score.
Should I not mention the fact that Harry Kane basically dived over as well?
I mean, that's a given. Harry Kane's a cheat. Do you like Harry Kane? Where do you stand on Harry Kane, other than his neck?
I was going to say his testicles. Only if you ask me, though. Well, someone's got to make a living. Yeah. I don't know. I like Liverpool more than I like England, so in that case, I don't like Harry Kane. I think it's probably fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, I like England, and I like it when England do well, but I think Harry Kane is one of the most overrated players in the league, and he's.
I don't agree with that. I think he's very good. I can't argue with that.
When he comes to playing for England, I mean, he got the Golden Boot World Cup last year and an MBE out of it. He scored 3 times against Panama, a lucky header against Tunisia, and one came off his heel against. I mean, other than the penalties, he didn't have a particularly great World Cup, and I think he's one of those players who, if he has an average game, people will say he was brilliant. If he has a brilliant game, people say he's the best player that's ever lived. And if he has a bad game, it will still go down as average. Do you know what I mean? It's all weighted in his favour, and that annoys me quite a lot.
The thing with Harry Kane is he almost had that Robbie Fowler-esque thing where it doesn't matter how badly he plays, he still somehow scores.
Yeah, but well, he didn't today. He just dived and helped Moura score.
That's true, yeah.
It was a safe sort of thing.
But at 1-1 at home to Spurs, things start to get, looking pretty desperate. In fact, Jurgen Klopp does something that I've not seen him do basically ever, and he goes gung-ho. And I've seen him do that tactically, but never in terms of his changes. So he takes off Milner and Henderson in the midfield, brings on Fabinho and Origi, and basically throws 4 players up front.
Yeah, I mean, it's bloody great to see, really, isn't it? Because how often does that happen? And, even for Jurgen Klopp, who likes his heavy metal football, it's quite a rare sight to see him go quite so gung-ho. So it's exciting. I mean, I remember talking to you during this game, and I was in a terrible mood after Tottenham scored. I really wasn't happy. But it got better.
Well, it did, but it almost got worse because with going 4-2-4, we were left very exposed at the back. To such an extent that after one of our corners, it breaks very quickly, and we're left with a 2-on-1 situation between, I think it was Sissoko and Son who'd come on, and Van Dijk on his own. And somehow Van Dijk won out. Yeah,
well, it was just great intuition by Van Dijk. He could have committed himself. A lot of people would say, if that was a really good defender, he should have committed himself. And if that had ended up being a Spurs goal, Van Dijk would get a lot of stick. But by holding back slightly, he cut off the option for the pass. He forced who was it?
Sissoko.
He forced Sissoko into having a shot, and it was a terrible shot, and it was way over. And that was because of Van Dijk's, intuition and his intelligence and his almost reserved approach to defending. It was, it wasn't a great tackle. It wasn't a great bit of marking. It wasn't a great interception, but it was an astonishing bit of defending because it completely cut out all of Sissoko's options and it forced him into a terrible attempt on goal.
On his weaker foot as well, which is, partly why. Exactly. It just shows you how calm he can be when the situation is pretty dire. And it's why we bought him. It's why he is, without question, the player of the year. But after that, through that, with Liverpool knowing they had to win, get ready for scenes because it happens again.
Oh, scenes. What is about a Liverpool Spurs game?
What is it about this season and goalkeepers in front of the cup? We've got Julian Speroni, we've got Jordan Pickford, we've got to a slightly lesser extent Tom Heaton, and now Hugo Lloris is in on the act. I
mean, this is magnificent. This was such a... God, it was a relief after that second half.
Should we just quickly run what happened?
Yeah, so, we've had a quite sustained spell of attack, but not really able to get it in anywhere. The ball comes across from the left-hand side of the pitch, I think it is, to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Or is it Alexander-Arnold putting it in from the left? I can't quite remember.
Well, essentially, it was a corner that was cleared by Harry Kane that fell to Trent. Who then whipped it in on the volley first time.
Mo Salah was at the near post, heads it down sort of across goal. It's not really going in. It seems a really simple catch for Hugo Lloris to just take it into his arms for some unknown reason. Rather than just pluck it out of the air and game over, he kind of parries it directly into the path of Toby Alderweireld.
Yeah, who's hapless to do anything. I remember watching this, and I'll admit, I was stonkingly hungover watching this. And I was sort of obviously I was feeling pretty dejected, and I didn't really have I was too numb to have too many emotions about it. And I just remember watching it and sort of seeing the ball sort of almost in slow motion trickle over the line. And all I could just go was, it's in! It's in! It's in! I don't know how, but it's in! Somehow it's gone in. I couldn't figure out what happened, but I just went into meltdown.
I was quite hungover and very tired at this point, and throughout the game I'd been really it had been quite a dejecting one, and that goal was it was such a lift, and Anfield went absolutely crazy. Needless to say, it was the dying seconds. It was a winner. And total post-mortem for Tottenham to work out what the hell they were doing at the back. But from our point of view, it was just magnificent. We're cloud nine. And if Man City want that title, they're going to have to fight to the absolute last blade of grass to get it. Because we're not going anywhere.
We're not letting them get away, are we?
We are not letting them get away.
Well, look, we stole a win here. We maybe didn't deserve it, but we got it. Doing the double against Tottenham, which is always satisfying, and leading us into March, where things are now getting really serious. Yes, we have to keep chasing City. The fixtures, we've still got a couple of tricky fixtures coming up, and then of course a very exciting two-legged tie against Porto as well, which I think we can all feel very positive about. Yeah.
I think we've got reasons to be excited for the month to come, certainly.
Exactly. So tune in sort of mid to late August to hear our next podcast about April. In April, and find out what happens then if you have lived in a cave on Mars for the last few months. But for
as
now,
I have.
as you evidently have, and hence the delay. But for now, before we move on and do our usual brand of irreverence to add to the insight of the first half, we need to take a quick commercial break. Hi, I'm Stephen Gellard, and even if you've never heard of me, you'll know one thing about me. I absolutely love kitchens. Which is why I've decided to sack off of football managing for a few months and devote myself to some real passion. Kitchens. The worktops, the microwaves, those tiny little freezers above fridges that hold 2 Viennettes and that's it. I love kitchens. And I particularly love my brand new kitchen business, Stevie G Kitchens. If you're looking for a kitchen, you should be looking for Stevie G Kitchen. Stevie G Kitchens have got all the latest mod cons that you need for successful time in the kitchen, including several products that are very close to my heart, such as the Gary McAllister electric carving knife, the Jamie Gallagher juicer and food processor combo, the Jamie Redknapp cling film dispenser, and of course, the Reverend Ian Paisley's biscuit tin. Hey Reverend Ian Paisley, can I have a biscuit? Never, 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 never. In fact, I've had such a good response to my Stevie G Kitchens that I'm blanching out in what the Financial Echo recently called the biggest kitchen deal since Nathaniel Klein sold Neil like half a kilo of hemp in his kitchen. I'm joining forces with David Thompson hallways, Stevie Warnock living rooms, and Clint Alexander-Arnold's downstairs bathrooms to present our brand new joint venture, Scouse Ground Floors. If you want a ground floor, there's only one place to go, and that's Scouse Ground Floors. Not including wing rooms, flood gardens. I wouldn't buy a plant pot of that ugly bastard.
Business. It's tough. Forever dealing with difficult customers, the taxman and unfortunate arson fires. It looks like you need protection in case such accidents may befall your ventures. At Martin Skirtle Insurance, we make sure your business is protected from any eventuality. If someone's troubling you with nonsense like customer rights or faulty products, we'll make sure they do not bother you again. If a car accidentally drives through the front door and smashes the receptionist, we'll get you a new one and deal with the culprit. If those gangsters come round and smash your office to bits, we'll return the favor. We offer a range of business protection from our deluxe package featuring the necessary tools you will need to ensure your survival. In the business world, of course. Or there's our not recommended package in which you do not give us your business and have to deal with the consequences. Business failure is a very big consequence, can also be very painful. A painful challenge I am used to making. We will defend your business with aggression like I showed during my heyday and hopefully with a bit less bloodshed. Or just a one-off weekly payment of £37,000. We make sure your business is covered. And if not, then perhaps expect some terrible setback may befall your endeavours. Payment must be left in unmarked bags in the child's clothing bin in the supermarket car park. Use your head, like I did with those 2 goals against Arsenal that time. Choose Martin Skirtle Insurance. Or else.
Andy Robertson is sitting enjoying a picnic in a field somewhere in Scotland. Andy Robertson is enjoying a mashed potato sandwich and a thermos flask of iron brew. Suddenly, Andy Robertson is disturbed by a noise behind him. Andy Robertson turns around to see a whole forest growing suddenly out of the field, reaching great heights, like the Amazon or something. Completely surrounded by trees, Andy Robertson spits out his mashed potato and frowns. Suddenly, a whole tribe of gorillas rush out of the forest, screaming, heading directly towards Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson jumps onto his quad bike and drives straight towards a tree before driving vertically out into the clouds. Reaching the top of the tree, Andy Robertson jumps off and is confronted by the King Gorilla, distinguishable by his crown and a t-shirt with the words King Gorilla. King Gorilla lunges for Andy Robertson, but he sidesteps, and then with a deft right foot, ironically, punts the King Gorilla out of the tree, watching as he falls to the ground, screaming like only a King Gorilla can. Andy Robertson looks relieved as Graham Souness appears from out of the canopy and hands him a banana sundae. Andy Robertson tucks in, looks to the camera, and winks. Bravo, man.
Hi, I'm James Milner, CEO and sous chef of James Milner Industries. We've had a number of successful business ventures throughout the West Yorkshire area, if you don't look at the number of people who have actually used our services. But now it's time to take the next step and get the word out about JMI. That stands for James Milner Industries. Our last intern came up with it, and I laughed for about 7.5 minutes. He was a funny one. I wonder where he went. Introducing the James Milner Hour with me, James Milner. The James Milner Hour with me, James Milner, is the hottest new radio show broadcasting in the West Yorkshire area every Thursday between 4 and 5:30 a.m, which is an hour and a half, but we already have the mouse mats printed with an I can't send them back. Each week we'll be on the cutting edge of the conversation the world is discussing, answering the biggest questions and debating all the hot topics of the day. Some of the topics we'll discuss include politics, music, sport, the weather, airports, pianos, desk fans, standing fans, the differences between desk fans and standing fans, the different flavours of concentrated juice drinks, getting changed in a hot bathroom after a shower, methods for preparing sellotape when wrapping Christmas presents, a comparative analysis of the world's most significant genocides, and at least 3 more. As well as enthralling chat, we'll also be playing all the latest hits of the day from the Hit Parade, from classic bands like the Andrews Sisters, the Crew Cuts, and Duke Ellington and his orchestra, to modern day edgy music like Coldplay, Embrace, and Flesh God Apocalypse. And hopefully we'll also have some live music too, although everyone I've asked so far hasn't replied for some reason. If you're listening, Mr. Dillon, I'll send another email over soon. Tune in to the James Milner Hour with me, James Milner, every Thursday from 4 to 5:30 a.m. on your wireless receiver. A great listen in the car, in the kitchen, at work, doing the ironing, or whatever fun activity you have planned. Introducing the James Milner Hour with me, James Milner. Would anyone like to buy a mouse mat?
And we're back. Thank you very much for staying tuned in. We are heading towards the end of the podcast, but before we do, we have our usual batch of features and games. And Owen, I have another game for you, because that tends to be what I do when I get bored one Sunday, is I'll write a game, and you're the only person who'll play them. So this, as I mentioned at the start of the podcast, I wanted to put a modern twist, or a Liverpool-based modern twist, on a classic TV game show. So, ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between, welcome to Play Your Players Right. Nice to see ya.
Nice.
That's right. I am not the sadly deceased Bruce Forsyth. May he rest in peace. I am Matt Simpson, and I am your host for Play Your Players Right. Now, unfortunately, due to budget restrictions, we only have one contestant here today. Contestant, tell us your name and where you come from.
That's me, presumably. My name is Owen Collins. I come from Oxfordshire, hence the plastic appended to the Scouser.
Fantastic. Now, Owen, how are you feeling excited for today's game?
I'm feeling very excited, Matt. I've been preparing specially in the 30 seconds since I found out I was playing this game. I've been cramming religiously everything I possibly know about Bruce Forsyth.
Fantastic. Well, that effort was in vain, as this is a game all about Liverpool Football Club.
Ah, bugger.
And the some of the more interesting facts, stats, and numbers about their particular players in our squad, past and present. So what I am going to do in each round, I will give you a category. I'll give you a choice of 3. You pick a category, and then we will choose. We will turn over a card, and on that card will be the name of a player and a number associated with that category. And it'll be up to you to say either
Higher,
or
lower.
correct. And it is as simple as that. So, Owen, are you ready to play?
I think so.
Okay, let's give a round of applause for Owen. Okay, Owen, round 1. You have a choice of 3 categories. Your categories are goals, captains, or nationalities.
Oh, I will go nationalities, please.
Nationalities, great choice. I'm turning over a card now, and it is the Dutch flag. The Dutch flag. Now, there is the number 9 next to it. That is the total number of players who have ever played for Liverpool from that country. So we have a 9 and a Dutch flag. How has that surprised you, Owen? Are you relatively unshocked? What's your thoughts on that?
It's higher than I would say if I hadn't thought about it. But I was looking at Dutch footballers for our 60-second challenge last month, so that seems about right. That's about the ballpark figure, I would say. I think
Excellent.
9.
Well, I hope that helps you in this game. So shall we turn over another card?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
That's how the game works. We're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, might as well.
Turn over our first card. Now, for your first point, Owen, we have... it's the Republic of Ireland. Now, let's have a look here. Do we think that the number is going to be higher or lower? Audience, what do you think? Fantastic. Owen, what are your thoughts on this?
Liverpool have got a great association with the Irish, so I'm going to say higher.
You're saying higher. Our board says... Ding ding, 22.
Ooh.
Very high indeed, Owen.
Yeah.
Well done. Good work and good knowledge there. Let's turn over another card to see if you can get another point. We'll turn over the card here, and it is Brazil.
Oh.
Brazil. Now, it's an interesting one. Owen, give us your thoughts.
Well, I can almost name all of our Brazilian players. I think we got.
Oh,
Lucas.
then please do. I'm sure the audience would be thrilled.
I'm sure they would. Lucas, Fabinho, Fabio Aurelio, Firmino, Coutinho. I think that's all of them. Alisson, he's Brazilian, isn't he? But I can't think of any more. I may have missed a couple, but I've certainly not missed a dozen or so. So I'm going to say lower.
You're saying lower. Our board says...
Please, Brucey.
Ding, ding, ding. Correct. It is. Just 8. You named 7 of them.
Who did I miss?
I would tell you that if I knew the answer. Now, we will move on to turning over another card. You're doing well. Let's keep the momentum up here in our game. Play your players right. We're turning over another card here, and it is South Africa. An interesting country. Very storied history, of course, including, South Africa, of course, wasn't necessarily just South Africa for a long while Liverpool existed. So tell me, Owen, do you think more or less than 8 players have played from South Africa for Liverpool in our history?
That's really hard. Because a lot of people were born in South Africa who wouldn't be classed as South Africans. So Mark Gonzalez, I think, was born in South Africa, but he is a Chilean, and he was down as a Chilean player for us. I have a feeling Bruce Grobbelaar, despite playing international football for Zimbabwe, was born in South Africa. What is it, lower or higher than 8?
Lower or higher than 8 is the current number on the board.
Oh, God, that's really hard. There's Gordon Hodgson, obviously, as scorer of the most hat-tricks in Liverpool colours ever. Oh, God, this is hard. I'm going to say lower.
You're saying lower than 8, Owen. Our board says... It is incorrect. It is 10. Incredibly. 10. That is right. So you do not get a point for that. Now, usually in this game, you would lose the line, but I have not planned it that way because I didn't think this through. So let's turn over another card anyway and find out where you are now. Oh, the beautiful country of Italy.
Ooh.
A beautiful country. So currently our number is 10. Please tell me, Owen, higher or lower in terms of players who have played for Liverpool?
I'm going to say lower.
You seem confident.
Well, 10 is quite a lot.
10 is quite a lot, but you didn't expect that many South Africans. So
No, but now I know there's that many South Africans. I'm going to go underneath the South Africans.
oh well. I mean, what's up to you after the show is your business. But we will look. So you're going to say lower than 10 for Italians.
Yes, please.
Our board says, ding ding, correct.
Yes.
Only 6. Interestingly.
Huh.
You'd have thought there'd been more, but no, only 6 Italian Italian nationals ever to have played for Liverpool. So well done, you're back on the board once again.
I can think of 3 of them off the top of my head, but
we don't have time to hear those. So let's turn over another card. We are just hopping across the Alps into France. Now, France. Now, this seems like a fairly straightforward one, so please, Owen, tell me, higher or lower than 6 French players?
is this French internationals or French players?
Players of French nationality to have played for Liverpool.
Higher.
You're saying higher.
Yes.
Our board says, ding ding, of course, yes, absolutely. Particularly with Gerard Houllier, Simon Charles, a lot of French players came in. 16 in total.
Oh, wow. That's more than I'd have said. Actually.
16 French players have played for us. We are at the last card, Owen. How are you feeling? You excited? You happy?
I'm both excited and happy.
Fantastic. We are on to the last card. Are you ready to see what it is?
Hit me with it, Matt. Hit me with it.
Let's turn over the last card. It's España. That's right. The beautiful country of Spain. Now, Owen Collins, for an almost perfect 5 out of 6, would you please tell me whether or not more or less Spanish players have played for Liverpool than French?
What is it? 16?
16 is the number on the board.
Oh, God. We have had a lot of Spaniards. I think we've had a lot of young players who are Spanish, who have played once or twice for us, like Antonio Barragan. I'm going to say higher.
Are you saying higher in a higher accent, or are you actually saying higher?
That was a coincidence, but I am saying higher.
You're saying higher. This is for 5 out of 6 and an almost perfect run. Ding, ding, ding! Correct! That's right. 5 out of 6. In fact, joint highest of any number we've had today, 22. Incredibly, Spanish players who've ever played for Liverpool. Well done, Owen. Round 1, that is done. How are you feeling after that, Owen?
I'm feeling good. I think I did quite well there.
Yeah, I think you did it very impressively. Audience, what do you think? That's great. Now, we will go on to our next category board. 3 categories once again to choose from, Owen, and they are captains, goals, or captains.
I'm going to say goals.
Goals, fantastic. Right, we'll get the new cards out right here, and we'll turn over the first one, and what number will appear? Goals. Now, we assume that this would be goals for Liverpool Football Club. And indeed it is. So let's turn over and see what face we see. It's the delightfully smiley face of Luis Garcia. Now, Luis Garcia, any idea how many games he might have played for us, Owen?
How many games?
Goals. Pardon
goals.
me. Can we edit that, please? How many goals he might have scored, Owen?
I would say roughly 40.
This is, of course, in all competitions, don't mind me. All professional competitions, not friendlies or any other games like that. Let's see the number. 30. So, Not quite that many, but not a bad guess at all. So,
Not bad.
Let's have a look at who we've got next. Turn over the card. Jan Molby.
Ooh.
Very, very big figure in more ways than one at Liverpool.
Absolutely.
So, Jan Molby, higher or lower than 30 goals for Liverpool?
He was there a good few years, Mo, because he was playing in kind of 1986, through to the 90s.
Of course, but you have to think of, not only it's about how long they've been there, what position they played in, or You know, whether they had a good run in games?
I'm going to say higher.
And your reason is simply because of the length of time?
Yeah. If Garcia could do 30 goals in, about 3.5 years, I reckon Moby could do 10 more in, an extra 5 years.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the board. Ding ding, correct.
Boom.
Incredibly, 61, which for a defensive midfielder is quite a lot.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That is excellent. Now, let's have a look at the next card. Oh, that's a face I recognise, and you will, and certainly one of our Twitter accounts will. It's the beautiful perm of Kevin Keegan.
Kevin
Keegan, the current number is 61. So Owen Collins, higher or lower than 61 goals for Liverpool?
Higher.
You seem questioning that. What was the thought behind it?
Only because I can't remember. I know what year Kevin Keegan left Liverpool, which was 1977. I can't remember what year he signed, so I'm not quite sure how long he was there for. But I'm gonna put my neck out and say higher.
Higher, you say?
Yeah.
Our board says. Ding ding, correct. Yes. Indeed, you are right. In fact, it has broken our numbers board. That for some reason only has 2 digits on it. It was a Centurion 100.
Oh, exactly.
100, exactly 100 goals Kevin Keegan scored for Liverpool. So that is 2 out of 2. Well done, you are flying. Let us fly through to the next card. Let's turn it over. It's the legendary John Aldridge. An absolute legend of Liverpool, both in the 80s and indeed today. If you watch the Liverpool FC channel, he is a hero on both platforms. Now, tell me, Owen, higher or lower in terms of goals for Liverpool, John Aldridge?
Higher or lower than 100? I would say... I would say higher.
You'd say higher. You seem to be hesitant.
Yeah, I am. I don't know this at all. I've not got a lot to base it off of, and I know Aldridge was, again, really good for us, but wasn't there for that long. But he was pretty prolific, so I'll say higher than 100. Okay,
well, we've stuck a 3rd digit onto our board now using bits of card, so let's see whether or not we need it. Let's reveal the answer. Oh, I'm afraid that's not correct. In fact, only 63. Did John Aldridge ever score for Liverpool?
That's much less than I thought.
Exactly, not slightly surprising, but that is the name and nature of the game. So, let's have a look at our next player. Let's turn the card over. Oh, a very dashing chap there, Xabi Alonso. Now, famously scored quite a few spectacular goals for Liverpool, but how many were there in total, Owen? Was it more or less than 63?
I'm going to say definitely less.
You seem very confident.
I am very confident.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm very confident, but I am.
Well, certainly from the last answer, you have no right to be, but we will have a look. Owen Collins, I'm not paid to be nice, I'm paid to present. Owen Collins, are you right or wrong?
You're paid too much.
Ding ding, you are correct indeed. Only 19 Xabi Alonso ever scored for us, which is slightly lower than I think most would expect, but you are definitely right, lower than John Aldridge. So let's have a look. This is our penultimate card now in our second set, and you are doing very well. You're 3 out of 4. Let's have a look at the next card. Oh, here's an interesting character. Yossi Benayoun. Yossi Benayoun, the Israeli international. Currently on the board is 19. Are we looking at higher or lower than 19?
Oh, I am going to say higher. Because I remember him scoring a hat-trick against possibly Havant and Waterlooville.
Okay, that's 3, so where did the other 16 come from?
Well, I can think of 16 other times he scored. Okay. I can't. I can think of one other time he scored for definite. But no, he scored a couple against Besiktas when we beat him 8-0. Did he get a hat-trick that night? Yeah, higher. Definitely higher.
You're going definitely higher. Okay, let's look at the board. Ding ding! Yes, indeed, you are correct. 29, in fact, he scored. So not too many more, but as you're right, he got 2 hat-tricks, I believe, indeed, in a Liverpool shirt. So pretty impressive stuff.
I'm quite proud of remembering that. I'll take that.
You have absolutely every right to. Now let's have a look at the last card. We're on to the last card. You want to get another 5 out of 6. You're going to need to get this right. We're turning it over. It's an interesting character. Dean Saunders.
Oh, that's hard.
Dean Saunders. Now, of course, again, very famously, been in a lot of Liverpool punditry in recent years, well-known face, considered quite highly among Liverpool faithful, but did he score more or less than Yossi Benayoun? And the number is 29 at the moment.
It's funny how both Aldridge and Saunders also played for my hometown team of Oxford United.
It's really funny. Audience, how funny is that? Fantastic. Right, carry on.
Just needlessly harsh. Higher or lower than 29? I'm going to say higher.
Higher. That seems confident of you.
It's not.
Do you even know what position he played?
You've got me doubting myself now. I'm going to say somewhere across the middle.
Is that his waistline or?
That's what?
His waistline, maybe? That's somewhere across his middle?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Sort of naval.
Yeah, I said higher. We are logging that in. Higher than 29, Owen. For the 5 out of 6 set? I'm afraid that's wrong. Only 25. He only ever scored for us, despite being a forward-thinking player. Interesting. Sadly, not enough for you. Only 4 out of 6 in that round. Slightly disappointing. You better think about what you've done before the last round.
I'm getting worse. I'm actually getting worse.
Your stats are falling, but you have an opportunity to save it. Because if you get a certain amount, you will win a prize. So let us look at the last category. Let's have a look at the wheel and see what we have. We have Owen Collins. Captains, and captains.
Can we spin the wheel again? I'm not happy with any of those options.
Okay, yes, absolutely fine. I understand. We've spun the wheel again. What do we have? Captains, captains, and captains.
It's a tough choice, but on the basis that I'm not very good on captains, I'm going to say captains.
Captains, you select. Fantastic. Let's reset the cards. Owen, you chose captains. You're clearly very confident on the subject.
Massively, Matt. I'm massively confident.
Well, that's good. Of course, there are many famous Liverpool captains, past and present, so surely you will know something about them. So let's firstly see the number and the first card. It's the classic Stevie G. Steven Gerrard, recently Rangers manager, started his own kitchen company as well, so I hear. The number is 473. That's a big number to start with. Thank God we got the cardboard. There's 473 appearances as captain for Liverpool, Owen. It's a fact for you there. So,
there we go.
So, how do you feel about that now?
I feel great about that. Yeah.
Yep.
I feel fantastic.
Ready to see the first card? First card. Legend of both Liverpool and television, Alan Hansen.
Ooh.
Alan Hansen. Now, how many games, Owen, did Alan Hansen appear as captain for Liverpool? Is it higher or lower than 473?
Lower.
Very confident on that, aren't you?
Not as confident as I sound, but yes.
Okay, well, we're going to take that answer. Let's have a look at the board. Ding ding, correct, absolutely. In fact, no one has had more appearances as captain for Liverpool than Steven Gerrard. Only 195 there for Alan Hansen.
That's a lot lower than I'd have said. But...
Well, there we go. Interesting. We're learning something every day. Let's turn over the next card and see what we've got. Oh, it's another legend of TV punditry and indeed Liverpool. Phil Thompson.
Ooh.
Another legendary centre-back for Liverpool. Now, games as captain. Higher or lower than 195?
Base that Hansen was lower than I thought, so Thompson's got to be higher than Hansen. Higher.
Are we going higher?
We're going higher.
Okay, let's have a look at the board. I'm afraid that's not correct.
Really?
It is lower, only 147. It's good for snooker, but it's not good for you. So that is, unfortunately, a fail. But we shall carry on regardless. Hopefully you've learnt your lesson. Let's have a look at who we've got next. 147 on the board. The great Finn. Sammy Hippier. Sammy Hippier. How many appearances as captain did he make? Is it higher or lower than 147?
147. Now, if it's 38 league games in a season, 147 would be about 3.5 seasons. And I don't think Hippier did that long. I don't think he was captain in... When did Hippier become captain? He finished being captain in 2004. put about 2001. Maybe he was captain when we won the treble. Can't remember.
Don't need an answer from you, Owen.
Higher.
We all want to go home. Let's have a look. Higher, you're saying?
Yeah.
Higher than 147. Is he correct?
Yeah. Oh.
Ding ding, yes!
Hey!
You are correct. Another point on the board for you there. 205.
Oh.
Seems a lot, I know.
It does. But I suppose we did very well in cup competitions under Hippie, didn't we?
We did, and he was an ever-present, very rarely got injured, of course, as well.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing, big factor in that. Okay, we have 3 cards left. It's getting to crunch time, and you need all the points you can get to win that prize. So, let's turn over the next card. Oh, a classic from Liverpool, past. Billy Liddell. Billy Liddell, a man who stuck with Liverpool through thick and thin during the worst years of their life, and arguably one of the greatest we've ever had. Captain appearances, is it more or less than 205?
You know what? I don't know. So
You don't know, Owen?
Well, obviously, I know Billy Liddell and I know a lot about him, but I don't know enough about who he was playing with to know if there was a more obvious captain in the side at the same time as him. So I'm going to say higher.
You're going higher than 205?
Higher for Billy.
Okay. Well, some of us are. Are we higher or lower than 205 for Billy Liddell?
Oh.
I'm afraid that isn't correct. Only 126 for Billy Liddell.
That's less than Phil Thompson.
I'm afraid it is. Yeah, it wasn't as many as you'd have thought for Billy Liddell. So who are we going to get? Your penultimate card of the game. You really need to start getting those points for that prize. Let's have a look at who we've got. Ian Rush. A proper legend, a proper goal-scoring legend for Liverpool in 2 spells with a year in Italy to swan about. Higher or lower in terms of appearances as captain of 126?
It's got to be lower.
It's got to be, you think?
Yeah, he wasn't really renowned for his captaincy, was he, Ian Rush?
You don't think so?
Well, I don't think so, but I'm getting my excuses in, but if he was, it was before I was born, so...
Well, not all of it. Let's have a look.
No, he was Roy Evans' captain. I've said lower now, haven't I?
You can say higher if you want to change your mind.
No, I'll stick with my gut instinct.
Stick with your gut instinct. Let's find out if that was good or bad. Let's have a look at the board. Ding ding! Correct. Lower was correct. 113 though. Still quite a few.
Good, yeah.
Still quite a few. Right, we are on to the last card. Let's have a look at the very last card. Oh, perfectly fitting. Our current captain, Jordan Henderson.
Ooh.
Now, Jordan Henderson, with facts all being correct as of the 31st of March 2019, has he made more or less appearances as captain than Ian Rush's 113?
That's tricky. So again, Hendo became captain in 2015. That's 3 full years. So if you played every game, that would be nearly 120. Plus a run to the Champions League final, a run to Europa League final, and a run to the League Cup final. All of which he was captain for. 113 he's got to beat, you say?
113 is the number on the board.
Now, he was injured for quite a lot of time. Oh, God, that's really hard. I'm going to say on the basis of over cup campaigns, higher.
Oh, some good deductive work there. Audience, what do you think? We want to go home. Well, there we go. Interesting views from the audience there. But are you right? You're saying higher. This is the last card. Let's see if you got it right. Ding ding! You did! Indeed. Congratulations. 127.
Oh, only just.
Only just, but yes, you were. It was a very good deductive work there, working out the runs in the cups and the injuries, but it still works out as more than Ian Rush. Congratulations, Owen. Now we are going to go and toss up your scores and get a verification on your final score. Your total score was 13. 13. That is not a bad score at all.
Quite happy with that. Lucky 13.
13 out of a possible 18. Okay, so Let's have a look at what the winning number was today. If you got above that number, if 13 is above the winning number of today, you win the grand prize. Let's spin the wheel. Oh, it's landed on 13, and of course, you get nothing for repair.
In this game.
Not in this game, and so unfortunately Owen doesn't win the grand prize, but I'm sure he's had a great time. Thank you so much everyone for watching. Thank you for being a great audience. We'll be back next time for more Play Your Players Right. Until then, look after yourselves and each other. Goodbye.
Oh, I am a Liverpudlian, and I come from the Spy Cup. I love to sing, I love to shout, I get thrown out quite a lot. We support the team that's dressed in red. It's a team that you all know. It's a team that we call Liverpool, and to glory we will go. We've won the